the directing staff and the management of NIPS for keeping the flag flying. Today is a very important day in our life because of this new policy making and good governance. We thank you, our Vice President. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Moving on with the program, I will now call on His Excellency, Right Honorable Simon Bakola Long, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, to give his goodwill message. Your Excellency, sir. A round of applause for him, please.
His Excellency, Professor Yemi, Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, GCON, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Professor Sonny Wanle Choden, Speaker, Plateau State House of Assembly, ably represented by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Saleh Idmon. Chief Judge of Plateau State, also represented by Honorable Justice Ishaku Kunda, the Chairman and members of the Boards of Governors of the National Institute, the Director General, NIPS, Professor Ayo Omotayo, heads of military and paramilitary services present, APC Chairman, Honorable Rufus Bature, members of the Plateau State Executive Council, members of the State Security Council, Secretaries of the Government, Chief of Staff, and Head of Civil Service, the Chairman, Plateau State Council of Chiefs and Emirs, and Bongom Jos, His Royal Majesty, Da Jacob Gyang Buba, CFR, and other Royal Highnesses here, President and members of any participants of the Senior Executive Course number 45, 2023, the management and staff of the National Institute, distinguished invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether to call myself a regular, an associate, a participant. Because I've been very, very regular here. Sir, you remember I said something, I said I will leave a signature. And that signature was to establish a golf course for the participants. And in the course of creating that golf course, I captured somebody. I captured the DG himself. He's a member of the golf course. The only person I have not been able to, I tried, not yet succeeded, is Professor Paramalum herself. Very soon I told her husband she will join us on the golf course. So it's one person, and I know many of the management staff are now members of my club there. I will soon leave the office. I will join you every day in playing golf. So it is another great honor for me to be here again at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS School, and to deliver a goodwill message on the occasion of the Maiden Policy Making and Good Governance Lecture Series. I welcome warmly His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, GCON, who is a guest lecturer and a frequent visitor to the Institute of Plateau State. I also take this opportunity to once again appreciate the Director General and the management of the Institute for always coming up with novel ideas which stimulate discourse on critical and timely issues relating to the peace, progress, and the development of Nigeria. Plateau State, the home of peace and tourism, is indeed very proud to host these intellectual interactions which have impacted on the fortunes of our nation. I also pay my respect to the Senior Executive Course 44 participants who I know are enjoying the beauty and hospitality of our state. Today's event, which heralds the Maiden Policy Making and the Good Governance Lecture Series, is a well-conceived idea that addresses the long-standing challenge of the policy making and the delivery of people-centered governance in Nigeria. It is common knowledge that policy conception, articulation, and execution are some issues that have affected governance in Nigeria over the years. Policies are ordinarily supposed to be formulated on the basis of national or state aspirations and driven by concept of quote, general good. Unfortunately, we have witnessed time and again where good policies are being either jettisoned or poorly executed in Nigeria on the basis of politics and other considerations that do not reflect the general interest. This situation has deteriorated over the years, particularly within our democratic experience, which continues to impact negatively on the slow level of development in virtually all sectors. It is sad to note that rather than focus on sustaining good policies that drive national agenda and strengthen the Nigerian state, many office holders sacrifice this virtue on the altar of politics, which is sometimes motivated by parochial considerations, driven by ethno-religious considerations, amongst others. The resultant effect of this is the level of bad governance we continue to experience, where our people are denied the dividends of democracy and a better life. In order to make progress, this must change, especially as we are in another transition, where a new set of leaders are expected to take over soon. Our President, His Excellency Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, has in the last 8 years done his best in reviving some of the national policies across all sectors that are at the core of Nigeria's socio-economic development. It is expected that our President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will continue to build upon these policies in a manner that emphasizes systems rather than personalities. Looking at the impact of the policies on agriculture, oil and gas, critical infrastructure, national security, power and energy, entrepreneurship and business, among others, which the Buhari administration has been scored high, there are very high expectations from the renewed hope agenda of the incoming administration, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. While I do not intend to encroach into the lecture, which is going to be delivered by my boss, by a very competent guest lecturer, who himself is an accomplished professor and politician, permit me to make a few references to how our rescue administration has tried to improve policy making and good governance in Plateau State over the past 8 years. One of the key areas my government has focused on is continuity in project implementation, which led to the completion of abandoned and inherited projects spanning from the immediate past administration and others before it. Rather than jettison such projects because of the party differences and other parochial considerations, we insisted in completing them for the interest of our people and in order not to waste public resources. Even though politicians have used this against us, we have no regret, as we are sure that posterity will judge us whether rightly or wrongly. Today, many of them, including the famous Mararaban Jama Secretariat Road, among others, have been completed and put to use, while others like the General Hospital in Kaike, Lantang South and Riom local government areas are among completed projects which will be commissioned by Mr. President when he visits Plateau State in the coming weeks. We believe that any policy that does not take into consideration the needs of the people is not worthy of consideration and implementation. It is my hope that this policy making and good governance lecture series will assist those coming into office at various levels to pay attention to what is important and urgent for the development of Nigeria. The time has come when we must distinguish politics from governance and ensure that we work together in delivering good governance to our people. All hands must be on deck. I welcome you once again, and I look forward to listening to our eloquent and brilliant guest speaker, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, as well as the outcome of this lecture series. God bless Plateau State. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria.
A round of applause for the Excellency. Moving on, with the kind permission of the Director General, I will now take the resume of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. Professor Oluyemi Oluleke, Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Grand Commander of the Order of Niger, is the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was born on 8th of March, 1957 at Creek Hospital, Lagos. Sir, I was also born in March. March 15 precisely. Professor Yemi Osinbajo is a professor of law and a senior advocate of Nigeria. He is married to Mrs. Oludolapo Osinbajo Nishoyede, granddaughter of the late sage and statesman, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. They are blessed with 2 children and a grandson. Now to the educational background of our Vice President. Professor Yemi Osinbajo had his primary and secondary education at Corona School, Lagos, and Igbobi College, Yaba, respectively. He was the winner of the State Merit Award in 1971, the School Prize for English Oratory, 1972, and several others. A round of applause for him. So you know why he normally gets good presentations and good English. Queen's English, or King's English now. A round of applause for the Vice President. Thereafter, he studied for his undergraduate degree of the University of Lagos, at the University of Lagos between 1975 and 1978, where he obtained a second-class upper degree in law. He also won the Graham Douglas Prize for Commercial Law. In 1979, he completed the mandatory 1-year professional training at the Nigerian Law School, and thereafter, he was admitted to practice as a barrister and solicitor of Nigerian Supreme Court. In 1980, he attended the London School of Economics and Political Science, where he obtained a Master of Law degree. Next is to his professional life. Professor Yemi Osinbajo is an accomplished scholar, teacher, lawyer, and administrator. He is one of the nation's leading experts on the law of evidence, national and regional corporate commercial laws, and public law. A round of applause for His Excellency. In 1994, he became professor of law, following which he was appointed head of Department of Public Law, University of Lagos. Between 1999 and 2007, Professor Osinbajo was a member of cabinet of the Lagos State government, where he served as Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice. Also in 2007, His Excellency, Professor Osinbajo, became the senior partner at Simon Cooper Partners, Nigeria, a commercial law practice. I will now move on to take a look at the political career of Professor Yemi Osinbajo. After the formation of All Progressive Congress, APC, Professor Yemi Osinbajo was tasked with other notable Nigerians in the party with the development of a manifesto for the new political party. The highlights of the roadmap included a free meal school plan and a conditional cash transfer to millions of the poorest Nigerians. On 17 December